Welcome to Magic Hour. I'm your host, Paul Chappell.
I'm Curtis Hood.
And today we are reviewing Knives Out.
Where there's no shortage of sharp knives to carve the Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah, this is a perfect movie for Thanksgiving, man.
It was, man. Dysfunctional families and all, man.
It's more appropriate because there was actually an argument during my Thanksgiving dinner.
Yep. Yeah.
Which you probably don't know about.
Yeah, well, I know very little about.
For those who don't know, Curt is actually my brother-in-law. I'm married to his sister. So we were at the same Thanksgiving dinner, but he came a little bit late.
I missed all the fireworks.
Yeah, he missed all the fireworks. Because you came, what, around 4 or something?
Yeah, it was later in the afternoon. So we're talking about this movie called Knives Out, directed by Ryan Johnson, who also directed The Last Jedi and Looper, and what else of note has he directed?
He did a film noir movie called Brick.
Okay.
And I actually have that in my library, and I still haven't seen it. It's supposed to be really, really good. He's supposed to be really good at these like mystery whodunit things.
Well, he is good. He both directed and wrote the screenplay for this movie, and it is a very intelligent movie in my perspective. I felt it was a very well written movie, absolutely stunning cast. I mean, all the stars came out. It's like the Orient Express type caliber of acting and actors.
It kind of felt like Clue. A little bit.
I mean,
I haven't seen Clue in a long time. The only thing I remember from Clue is that Maid with Big Hooters.
That's what you remember.
Because I think I saw it when I was a teenager, and I was like, I always remember that. I was like, yeah, that woman.
Well, I would say it's
really distracting.
It was that genre of film, like The Clue. It had a lot of comedy in it, but I feel like it was a comedic drama though.
Well, Clue was the same way. It had a lot of comedy.
Yeah, I don't think it was at this caliber though.
The weird thing about this, it almost feels like we should do a no spoilers review of this. But
yeah, at this point,
if you haven't already seen it, you're probably just thinking about seeing it because it's Sunday and you missed the big opening of it. So we're going to assume that you just want to know whether you see it. I think it's worth seeing.
Absolutely.
I'll go ahead.
Absolutely.
I won't give my score yet. We'll say that for the end. But
I would say that this is finally a film where you can take you and I could take our parents or people of that age group with you without them being offended or I think it's for an eclectic group of people. Age gaps and whatnot, but it, like I said, it was brilliantly written, brilliantly acted,
and cast. Just to add to your comment about the casting, I like that they chose a lot of well-known actors because sometimes you'll see a movie like this, and you'll know the bad guy's got to be one of the more well-known actors,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
But
and you're like, oh, why? Because I know that, like, when I watch Law and Order or Law and Order SVU, you'll see they'll be interviewing all these potential suspects, and then all of a sudden they'll interview an actor that you know really well. Like I saw an episode like what's that
and he's playing like a garbage man.
Yeah. I saw an episode where SVU they're interviewing all these people, and they interview Kyle Penn. He's playing he's like a janitor or something. I said, that's the guy.
He did it.
Because I was like, there's no way he's coming on SVU just to do a little small part of janitor.
This movie had more...
Captain America.
It had, but it had more twists and turns in the Greenville highway system.
Oh, yeah. But it had Captain America, James Bond, whoever Jamie Lee Curtis plays in the Halloween movies.
Yeah.
Nash Bridges.
Yeah, you get Don Johnson,
Who did
Chris
he play
Evans,
in?
Daniel Craig,
Had a lot
Jamie
of
Lee Curtis, Christopher Plummer.
Yep.
I mean, it was star-studded, man. And the thing about it is and I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, how could they afford to employ all those actors? Well, it's because they only give them just a few minutes of screen time, aside from Daniel Craig and Ana de Armas.
Oh, I bet. I see. I should have did some research on that. I guarantee you, though, they probably got paid scale for this. Scale is what they have to pay you in a movie.
Right.
Because everybody's part of the Screen Actors Guild in Hollywood.
Yeah, but they didn't have to break the bank because they didn't have them on screen.
I don't think it's so much that. I think they probably all these actors wanted to work with Ryan Jackson. They liked the script and they wanted to work with him.
I agree.
And it also gave Daniel Craig in particular a chance to do something.
Yosemite Sam, baby.
What did you think about his accent?
Foghorn Leghorn.
What did you say?
Colonel Sanders.
Because Chris Evans and Solson, he said, what is this, KFC, CSI?
CSI, KFC?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Colonel Sanders.
Did you think his accent was good?
Dude, he was brilliant.
I suspect foul play. I have eliminated no suspects.
He was right on the cusp of being cartoonish, but he committed to it. And once you allowed yourself to just sink into his performance, then it was just pure entertainment, man. He did an awesome job.
I never got used to his accent, though.
I did, man. It didn't take long.
I was so used to him. For every second of the movie, I said, they're going to do some twist, and he's going to just start speaking in the British accent.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
And that's going to be some part of the plot.
James Bond.
Wouldn't it make more sense, though? Okay, because he appears in this movie as this private investigator, world-renowned private investigator. And it would make sense if he had a British accent, but that would kind of be, he was kind of playing against
From
type.
Scotland Yard.
Yeah, or something like that.
No, but this just, you can tell the actors had fun making this. I mean, the energy comes across on the screen when the actors are stretching their acting muscles. Chris Evans has been tied into Captain America for how many years now? I mean, that's been I've seen him do some little indie stuff here and there, but this film's going to do well because it's such a wide audience, and it comes at you from every direction. You don't know what's going to happen next. I will say that the third act of this movie fell into the cookie cutter category, but up to that point, man, you just never knew. When I say cookie cutter, it's like they took a new approach to the whodunit. Ryan Johnson, he did it differently than anybody's ever done it, and it was entertaining and fun. And to see something unique in today's Hollywood is very rare. To see something.
Well, what was different about it?
It was just his approach to the whodunit, the different twists, the angles that he was coming to from. Not only was he telling this other story, but he also put the dynamic of this incredibly spoiled family on blast.
But I think that's been done before. I think you're right, but I think what was different about it was they actually showed you what happened like halfway through the movie.
Well, that's true. Yeah, they give you a big piece of the puzzle,
and you're like wondering, like, you're still in the second act, and you're like, so they just showed us what happened.
That's what I mean by in the third act.
Okay,
it falls into now we're going to wrap it up nice in a bow.
But then there's something else going on. They make you think you have all the answers like halfway through the movie, which I thought was very interesting. I was like, where are they going to go from here? But then you they kind of throw up a little twist to show you that, hey, yes, this is what happened, but there was somebody behind the scenes, and it's kind of hard to talk about without just spoiling the plot.
Well, at this
But
point,
let's get into a little bit of the plot.
Okay, so there was this. I wouldn't even call him an eccentric millionaire, but he was a very, very successful crime writer.
Right.
And on his 85th birthday, he commits suicide.
Yep.
And so it looks like
it's the night after his birthday party,
okay,
right?
yeah, it's the night after.
Or the same night.
That's what I thought. It was the same.
Yeah, same night.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But at the onset of it, it looks like an open and shut case. I mean, he actually committed suicide in front of people. So he had witnesses that he committed suicide. And or maybe I'm giving away stuff. I shouldn't at this point. But
okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
he cuts his own throat. So, I mean, if you're a cop showing up on that scene, it's pretty obvious he killed himself.
Yep.
But then some anonymous benefactor has hired
Daniel Craig's character.
Benoit Blanc,
Yep.
which is like French Southern, old Southern.
He's like that guy in what's that movie you were just talking about?
Which movie?
There was a movie that came out, and I don't have my phone. I don't know why I left my phone. With Johnny Depp and some other people. Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah.
The character in that with Hercule something, Poirot or something like that. He's kind of like that character.
That may have been where
He's like a world-renowned private investigator. Somebody has hired him. He doesn't even know who's hired him, though, right?
Well, he says he can't say, so I don't know if he can't say. Because,
I don't think he knew.
Well, anyway,
But somebody
had brought him in because this was not an open and shut case,
right?
You know, and so he starts interrogating the family.
Yep.
In his charming, ultra southern way. All right, so you pick it up from there.
So, I mean, basically everybody has a motive. That's pretty much what they established right from the beginning. One of his children works for him and doesn't feel like he's been getting his due. His dad won't allow his books to be adapted into movies or anything. His son has been telling him for years, the character played by Michael Shannon, Walt Thromley, has been telling his dad for years, hey, you know, we could make so much money. So he kind of wants... he kind of feels like he hasn't, like I said, he hasn't gotten his due. He wants part of the inheritance. Then Jamie Lee Curtis is one of his daughters, and even though she has money,
and she's a biatch.
Yeah, she has money though. Her like motive was a little bit less clear. I immediately didn't think. I was like, she's the least obvious to have done it because she has money. So I think, well, maybe she did do it. It was one of those movies where they show you, they give everybody a reason to have committed this murder, but you're of course going to zero in on the person who has the least amount of motive. And then Jamie Lee Curtis has a son played by Chris Evans, Ransom Drysdale, and he doesn't even come through the funeral. He does some, you know, he shows up for the will, but he doesn't show up for the funeral. So you're kind of suspicious of him. But I was kind of looking like, oh, they obviously want us to think it was him. So I kind of dismissed him. So it was one of the movies was like, is he just doing what all these mystery movies do? Because every mystery movie, they'll give you all this motive with all these characters. And it's always the one you least expect.
Right, it's misdirection to try to lead the audience away from who it really is. They bring in a character that you just want that to be them just because they're an asshole. And Chris Evans' character was an asshole in this thing.
Yeah, so but you kind of wonder if he's gonna do something new and actually make the guy you think has done something, make him the villain or not. And then there's of course the mains.
Did they do that? I don't
Oh,
know.
oh yeah. And he had a daughter-in-law who was broke, and of course she wanted money. So it's like everybody has a motive, but then you've got the old trope about the maid. Did the maid do it?
Yeah, the butler. It's the butler.
And then there's the housekeeper. There's a housekeeper too. So
And what happened to her? Where's she at?
So I mean, it was interesting what they did, and because you can't really, he's going to do something new, but you're not quite sure how he's going to do it. But one of the things, like I said, that he does is they show right away what really happened.
Right. Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying is I think that if he would have stretched it out closer to the end, I don't think it would have, I see what he was doing there because he wanted to.
Well, see, showing who actually was involved with the man's death actually sets up some things that for this character, because should we even reveal? I feel like we shouldn't even reveal who it was, but I don't think the story could have progressed anymore unless you knew.
Okay, so our job is, as we feel it to be, is to inform and educate the audience on whether or not they should go see it. Am I correct in that?
Right.
Okay, so we're not going to tell you who did it.
Right.
Because this movie is worth seeing.
But just know that even though I've already said they're going to reveal who was involved, not necessarily though who actually is the villain, because there's a villain. But it's a weird twist the way they do it, and it's worth watching because at one point they even show blood on this person's shoe.
Right.
And you think this person is innocent, and you're like, that gets you started thinking more, and you're like, I don't know. I was kind of confused. And there's a thing with that we were discussing before we started that kind of confused me. It confused me so much that I have to go see this movie again.
Don't tell him though, because that's a big part of it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's very hard to talk. At this point, it's kind of hard to talk about the plot without giving too much away. But like it's suffice to say, they reveal some details, but it doesn't actually solve the mystery. So don't get out of your seats when they reveal that point.
As I said, it's got more twists and turns than the Greenville highway system. And if you're from this area, you know what I'm talking about. But and the twists and turns continue all the way to the end. Right. So it's entertaining, and it'd be something fun to go with friends to, or again, take your parents to it. I think that these are actors they would recognize and appreciate, and it's a fun story, and it's like going to one of those murder dinners. Yeah. So. And
it's fun to get to see everybody playing against type, because Chris Evans is playing. He played Captain America. He's playing this noble, honorable guy, and then he's playing this complete douche.
That hates dogs.
Self-centered.
I wonder if his head almost exploded that he had to pretend like he didn't like dogs. I bet that was the hardest part of his whole acting, was having to pretend he doesn't like dogs.
But somebody with his looks and money would end up like he
you think
ends
so?
up. Yeah, I think so.
Do you think he's not a nice person to meet in real life?
No, I'm not talking about him per se as a person. I'm just saying, no, I don't think he came from money though. In reality, I'm talking about Chris Evans, but I'm saying the character he's playing.
Oh yes, his character. Yeah.
It's very believable.
We all know that douchebag of a guy in our lives that has more money than he has sense.
Now let me tell you, I wish my nurse, when I get old, I hope my nurse looks like his nurse.
Yeah, but the way that she looked in, what was that movie?
I've never seen it before.
Harrison Ford was in the first one, Blade Runner. She was in Blade Runner.
Was she?
Yes. And she looked good in Blade Runner.
She looked what?
She looked good.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute, she didn't play the replicant, did she? That was her.
That was her.
No.
Look it up.
I'll look it up. But the maid in the movie, her name is Ana de Armas. Is she Spanish or is she actually Hispanic? Because there's a difference.
I don't have that information.
There's a difference between people who were born in
Spain
and people who are
from Mexico.
From Mexico
or Central America area.
Or Central America or something. So
absolutely.
I didn't know which. She looked Spanish to me.
Now, we would not be doing justice to this movie if we did not at least address the political commentary in this movie. Because a lot of people... It was kind of
background.
But a lot of people are making it out to be more...
Oh, really?
Yes.
Are they?
Yeah, I mean, if you go online, there's a lot of people that are doing reviews and stuff that put it at the forefront of...
It had nothing to do with
I agree.
The mystery aspect.
I 100% agree with you. And I do not think that this was...
It was one of those
commentary.
It was one of those situations where you go see family every year at a Thanksgiving dinner,
and somebody's inevitably
and every time we all know we got conservative and liberals in our family.
Yeah.
And if you're going to get into it with them, it's going to be at Thanksgiving.
Especially if you have passionate left and right in the family.
And most people agree to not talk politics when
most people are like the nurse who are good people at heart and just don't want to cause trouble.
Yeah.
And so 100%, this is probably the first movie that I'm going to give a 4.5 to.
Really?
I don't think I've done 4.5 yet. I'm giving it a 4.5.
I think you have.
Well, it's one of the few that I've given a 4.5. I'm not going to give it a 5 because I think the third act felt a little contrite, just a little, and them exposing the way they did early on in the film. I think that could have been drug out a little longer, just to make for a more entertaining full movie.
I can see that.
But by all means, it's worth your $8, $10, $12, whatever your theater costs to go see it.
I would give it a... You always do this. You always give your score, then you move on. I'm like, can I give...
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
So I would give it a 4. I couldn't get past Daniel Craig's accent. And I do agree they probably could have drug out what actually happened. Although I think it turned everything in a new direction, which I like. But yeah,
go see it.
It was pretty darn good. It had some funny moments.
Would you say that it was one of the best this year so far?
Wow, that's a loaded question.
I'm just saying from you know that I
don't
approach
know
these
though.
movies.
Joker was just.
God, it's getting such good press, and I do not agree with it.
Hey, Joker made $1 billion, man. We were wrong about Joker.
And guess what? Joaquin
We could
Phoenix
be wrong about this.
And Joaquin Phoenix, guess what? He's ready to sign up for the next one.
Oh, of course he is.
Oh, I'm only doing this one. Whatever, loser. I do not want him representing the Joker, man. And he's going to.
Oh, God.
But anyway.
I'm trying to think of some good movies we saw this year.
That's what I'm saying. I think we're going into a season of good movies coming out.
I think I had a couple movies that I gave good reviews to, and then I was like,
wait. That I freaking loved Frozen 2. I loved it.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, I would give Frozen 2 a 5. Honestly, it was so entertaining from I know this is kind of weird, but from a grown man's perspective.
Did you see the first one?
Yes.
Okay.
I think the second one was better than the first one.
What?
Yes, I do. And here's we're on wrong movie.
Just
real quick, I'll say it was better because you got more origin story from the how they grew up, what happened to their parents. You know, where she got her powers from. It tied up so many loose ends and answered so many questions that the first one just kind of mulled over. The first one was great. And let me tell you something. Disney has a equation to the way they build their movies. Mm. And to watch, I went like at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, and the theater was full of babies. Mm-hmm. And so leading up, I was like, oh man, maybe this was a bad idea because there were a million babies there. But when the movie started, you'd hear the little jibber jabbering. But when one of the actors started singing, especially Elsa, dead silence in the theater. And when you have that kind of magic against children that age, you got something going on. And it was like that all the way through the movie because, you know, they in between the big epic songs that they did in the movie, they would start talking and, you know, asking questions to their parents and, you know, especially when Olaf was on the screen. Oh, that's Olaf, you know. But
it's doing good.
Then when one of the princesses or Elsa or her sister started singing, dead silence. I just thought that it was kind of magical to me. I was like, how do you control a room full of toddlers? You just play a Disney song.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should have done another review of that one.
Or maybe you cut this off. What did you think of Frozen 2? I mean, I know what you... But, I mean, we have not discussed it.
I didn't like it as much as the first one.
You
I
didn't?
mean, I liked it, but I felt it was a big retcon. The fact that they had to go back to their childhood just shows you that this is some crap they made up after the fact because they didn't know.
I didn't see it that way.
They didn't know they were going to do another movie because that was the first time Disney has actually done a sequel to like one of their main princess stories. Every other sequel they've done, and I'm not talking about Pixar, I'm just talking about Disney Studios.
Right, Disney Studios.
They've never done a sequel.
Because those are two totally different companies.
Yeah. Now Pixar, they do sequels up the wazoo, but this is the first time they actually felt
turning
compelled.
it out like an animation factory.
And a princess movie, no less. And so, I don't know. I just felt like it was a little bit too convoluted, and the songs were not as iconic as the first one.
You don't think?
I mean, the first movie had "Do You Want to Build a Snowman?" It had "Let It Go." It had it had that Olaf singing in that. I forgot what the name of his song, but every song in that movie was a classic, and I can only really remember one song from this new movie, and that was that. I forget the name.
I can't remember it either.
But I did come home and watch it on like Vivo. So.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to wrap it up for Knives Out. Go to the theaters and see it. And that's all we got for you today. Thanks for coming by. Thank you guys so much for subscribing to this channel, man.
We're almost at 100,000.
We're almost at 100K, and I mean that's just blowing our minds that this channel's had that kind of success. But it's this guy right here, putting in the work. But thanks for coming by, and we'll see you next time.
We will see you when we see you. Thanks for watching.